Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah. Today, inshallah, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Surah Al-Kahf, followed by a couple of verses from Surah Maryam. So, Surah Al-Kahf is a surah which was revealed after the mushrikeen of Makkah. They decided that this message that Muhammad is bringing is something that we need to counter, and we need to get advice from the people who have been given the previous scriptures, the Jews and the Christians, take their advice as to how we should test him and ask him questions to make people realize that what he's bringing is falsehood. So what they did, they took a group with them to Medina, and they consulted with the rabbis that were residing there, that this is this message that has been brought. We want to disprove it somehow. So how do we do that? So they said, ask him 3 questions. And if he can answer these 3 questions, then you know that it's the truth from your Lord. Otherwise, you realize that he's bringing a false message. What were those 3 questions? The 3 questions were that what is the story of a group of people who ran away from their people to protect their iman, to protect their tawheed, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He made them sleep for hundreds of years in a miraculous way. That's the first question. The second question is, who is the person who went from east to west and conquered so many lands? Tell us about that person. And the third question was, tell us what a ruh is. What is the soul? So these are the 3 questions that these people brought back to the Prophet ﷺ so that he could answer them. And they were trying to, again, disprove the message of the Quran and the fact that the Prophet ﷺ was a prophet. So the Prophet, after he heard those questions, he said that, come back tomorrow, I will tell you. And he was made to forget the word inshaAllah. Okay, so he didn't forget, he was made to forget by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that it could be a lesson for us, the rest of humanity, that we should understand from this episode, this situation, that we should never forget to say inshallah whenever we are considering to do anything in the future. So he said tomorrow, but he waited 15 days and no wahi came down, no revelation came down, and he was getting worried that what's going on? No wahi, no answers. People are taunting him, they're asking him, when are the answers coming? And obviously he's becoming more and more worried. After 15 days, the revelation came down. First of all, وَلَا تَقُولَنَّ لِشَيْءٍ إِنِّي فَاعِلٌ ذَلِكَ غَدًا إِلَّا إِن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. Never say that you're going to do anything tomorrow except you tie it in with إِن يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, I will do it. Otherwise, if it's not in the Mashiach, if it's not in the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then obviously I will not be able to do it. And if you forget, وَاذْكُرْ رَبَّكَ إِذَا نَسِيتَ. For example, if you tell somebody, okay, I'll meet you tomorrow, okay, then after a minute you realize that you didn't say inshallah, so then you say inshallah at that time, or you make another dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, istighfar for forgetting the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is the lesson that you derive from this particular episode. As for the answers to the questions, the first answer, obviously, it was the Ashabul Kahf that left their people to protect their iman, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made them sleep in a cave for 300 plus years, and they woke up to find that the nation that were practicing idolatry, they are far and gone, and they have been raised in a new era and a different time frame, and this basically became a miracle, and the people the people of the town realized that a miracle had taken place, and these people became very honored amongst that particular society. And this story, actually, it is mentioned in the Bible. It is referred to as the 7 sleepers of Ephesus. 7 sleepers of Ephesus, if you want to look up that story. What about the person who went from east to west and conquered many lands? Many people have the understanding that it's Alexander the Great, but the majority of scholars, they say it was another person whose name was Cyrus. the Quran refers to him, and he was referred to as, the Quran refers to him as Dhul Qarnayn, meaning the one with two horns. And there are different reasons for this. Some people say that it was because he wore a helmet which had two horns on it, or the fact that his head was shaped in such a way that it looked like he had two horns, or the fact that he used to keep his hair in such a way that it looked like two horns. Different opinions of the scholars, but in any case, it was a person who conquered east to west, and he conquered many, many lands. That is the reference to that. As for the answer to the ruh, it is mentioned in Surah Bani Israel, وَيَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّي وَمَا أُوتِيتُم مِنَ الْعِلْمِ إِلَّا قَلِيلًا. They are asking you about the ruh. Tell them that the ruh is from my Lord, and you have not been given knowledge except very little. So the ruh is something that even in this very, very modern age, 1400 years after the Quran was revealed, scientists cannot tell you anything about what the soul of a body is. What is the soul that keeps us alive? And then when that soul leaves the body and departs the body, then what happens? What happens to the soul? All of these things, they have not been discovered by science. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told us 1400 years ago that you have not been given knowledge about this ruh except very little. So these were the answers to the three questions that the Prophet ﷺ provided. Moving on to Surah Maryam, the kuffar of Quraysh were always denouncing the message of the Prophet ﷺ, and particularly the issue of resurrection and coming alive after death. Many people used to think that, they used to claim that after we die, that's it, we're just going to decompose and we're not going to come alive again. So certain verses were revealed. One verse was revealed about Ubay ibn Khalaf, and other people who used to make the same claim that we're not going to come alive again. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَيَقُولُ الْإِنسَانُ أَإِذَا مَا مِتُّ لَسَوْفَ أُخْرَجُ حَيًّا. The human being says that when I die, am I going to be made alive again? And this was a sarcastic tone. This was a question that people used to ask the Prophet ﷺ, almost taunting him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to that in a very logical way. أَوَلَا يَذْكُرُ الْإِنسَانُ أَنَّا خَلَقْنَاهُ مِنْ قَبْلُ وَلَمْ يَكُ شَيْئًا. Doesn't the human being remember that we created him from a time when he was nothing before? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us from nothingness into something. Now our decomposed bodies are at least there. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can easily recreate us from that, okay? This is, again, it's more easier to create us from a model that is already there rather than creating us from nothing. So if Allah made the difficult step of creating us from nothing, then obviously it's very easy for him to recreate us while our bodies are there. So this is the answer to that question. And what we need to understand also from this is that when we say as humans we create something, we don't actually create something. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who creates. We actually manufacture something from the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that is already there. So we don't make something from nothing. Allah is the one who creates something from nothing. We create something from something that already exists. So when we clone an animal even, this is a very touchy subject nowadays. People think that, we've reached the pinnacle, we've almost become close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so na'udhu billah. But the reality is that when you clone, you actually take the DNA from an existing animal and then you recreate another animal from that. You didn't create an animal from nothing, which is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does. Okay? Allah creates from nothing. We take the materials that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have already given us and we manufacture something from those materials. That's the difference between our creation and the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And finally, the last story, the story of Khabbab ibn al-Arat and a conversation that took place between a person named Aas ibn Wa'il. Khabbab ibn al-Arat, I mentioned him yesterday. He was one of those slaves who was persecuted by his owners, and he had the back that he showed Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said that this is the punishment that I had to endure while I was a slave and after I accepted Islam. Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu said, Wallahi, I've never seen a back like this. Khabbab ibn al-Arat was actually a very experienced blacksmith, and he used to make the best swords. So people knew that if they wanted to get the best swords, they needed to go to Khabbab ibn al-Arat. And he used to make them, and he used to give them, and sometimes people used to take it on credit. Basically, he made the sword for them, and they used to say, I'm going to pay you back later, and this relationship was there. Once this Khabbab, he went to As ibn Wa'il, who was a disbeliever, and he requested some money to be paid back for him for a sword that he had made for him. As ibn Wa'il said that, I will only give you the money if you denounce Islam. If you denounce the message of Muhammad, if you denounce Muhammad, if you denounce Islam, I will give you your money. He said, I'm not going to do that. This is not possible. So I will not denounce the message. I still want you to give me my money. So he said, do you believe in the hereafter? He said, yes, of course I believe in the hereafter. We will be resurrected again. We will be presented in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So As ibn Wa'il said, okay, when I become resurrected again, and I'll have money and children in the hereafter, that's when I'm going to give you your money back. Okay? So basically ridiculing his belief and also not wanting to give the money. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed these verses. أَفَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ بِآيَاتِنَا وَقَالَ لَأُوتَيَنَّ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. Do you see the one who denied our signs? Meaning, first and foremost, he denies the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He rejected the message, and then on top of that he says that لَأُوتَيَنَّ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا. I'm going to be given, most certainly I'm going to be given wealth and children. I'm going to have wealth and children in the hereafter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to him, أَطَّلَعَ الْغَيْبَ أَمِ اتَّخَذَ عِنْدَ الرَّحْمَنِ أَهْدًا. Is he aware of the unseen? Did he become aware of the unseen? Or did he take a contract from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah is going to do this for him? كلا, certainly not. سَنَكْتُبُ مَا يَقُولُ وَنَمُدُّ لَهُ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ مَدًّا. We are writing what he is saying, and we're going to give him a very lengthy, we're going to stretch out his punishment. وَنَمُدُّ لَهُ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ مَدًّا. What is mad? When we make mad while reciting, we stretch, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَنَمُدُّ لَهُ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ مَدًّا. We're going to stretch out his punishment for him. وَنَرِثُهُ مَا يَقُولُ وَيَأْتِينَا فَرْضًا. And the thing that he is going to inherit is only his sayings. He's just going to come with his sayings in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he's not going to come with any children or wealth or anybody to support him. وَيَأْتِينَا فَرْضًا. He's going to come on his own, and it is going to be only him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in front of each other. But this is the response that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to this conversation that took place between Khabbab ibn al-Arat and As ibn Wa'il. But if you pay attention to the wording, I mean, it's a response to these allegations, but the response is done in complete rhyme. It is completely rhyming. All the words and the end of the sentences are completely rhyming. أَفَرَأَيْتَ الَّذِي كَفَرَ بِآيَاتِنَا وَقَالَ لَأُوتَيَنَّ مَالًا وَوَلَدًا أَطَّلَعَ الْغَيْبَ أَمِ اتَّخَذَ عِندَ الرَّحْمَنِ عَهْدًا كَلَّا سَنَكْتُبُ مَا يَقُولُ وَنَمُدُّ لَهُ مِنَ الْعَذَابِ مَدًّا وَنَرِثُهُ مَا يَقُولُ وَيَأْتِينَا فَرْدًا. All rhyming. Just responding to a conversation that took place, but rhyming in such a beautiful way. This can only be the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No human can replicate this and bring about such answers to a conversation that took place between two private people, a private conversation that took place between two people. Only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can respond to it in such a beautiful way. This is indeed the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This should affirm our conviction about the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Quran being from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us tawfiq to understand and practice what has been said and heard.